Hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Beautiful You Show. I just wanted to do a video for you reviewing a book I just finished reading. The book is called Ikigai, and it is by, sorry there's glare right there, but it is by Héctor Garcia and Francesc Miralles. Ikigai is a Japanese word. It's a word meaning finding your purpose or finding meaning for living or for your life. And so the basis of this book, the authors came upon this village, or I wouldn't say came upon, but they discovered this village in Japan, where in Okinawa in Japan, that has the oldest concentration of centurions. And so what centurions are people over 100 years of age. And so they were really fascinated by that. And so they went to the village and they went and interviewed a bunch of the people, a bunch of the centurions. And what they found was not only were there the biggest concentration of people over 100 years old, but there were also people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s that were still living very active lives, that were still thriving, that were still being part of their community, that were still mobile. And so they interviewed some of the residents there, and to find out, you know, what is keeping them going, and not only keeping them going, but going in a sense to where they're not aging, they're not getting older, they're still being productive, they're still engaging in hobbies and activities that bring them joy and light them up. They have routines and habits and are connected to not just their families, but to their friends, to other people in the village. And so what they found was that a lot of them shared similar things. And so they say that a person's Ikigai is a combination of things. And the things they talk about is what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you are good at. And at the intersection of that is a person's passion, a person's mission, a person's profession, and a person's vocation. And so in this book, they tell you about the common things among the people. And so what a lot of people had in common is that a lot of them were still very active, and with active, they walked everywhere, almost everywhere. And not only were they walking, they were engaging in Tai Chi, which are exercises. So Tai Chi is like a slow movement type of exercise. That's about your breath. That's about being present, being in the moment. And then they talked about Qigong, which is about like your ki or your chi, your energy, your life force. They talked about, there's another one called, I think, Radio Daiso, I think they called it, where you do stretching. And so they include that in the book, where they show you how to do those different exercises. So they found that people were active. A lot of people were mobile. Another thing they found that was really common among a lot of the centurions and the villagers is that a lot of them had vegetable gardens. So part of their daily routine is they would get up, they would go out into their garden, they would plant, weed, they would harvest. And when they harvested, most of their meals concentrated around what they planted, and then they would also take the rest to like a market, and that's how they would sort of make money, or part of their income came from that. Another thing that was common among them is this idea of being grateful, of being present in the here and now and focusing on what you had, and not being stuck in thoughts of the past or negative thoughts. There was another thing about being resilient and not letting things weigh you down and overcoming things that might be stressors. Um, another another thing that they touched on that they found was in common is that people there, they weren't in a rush. Even though they were doing exercising, it wasn't like strenuous exercise. It was more about keeping the body moving. Sorry, I didn't mention that. So with radiodizo, it's a lot of like stretches and movements just to keep your joints and your body fluid and lean. But they talked about being fluid. And with Ikigai, they say that, it's to have a passion. It's to think or do the things that give you joy, that light you up, that you notice that while you're doing them, time doesn't exist. You just seem to flow. And if you find that, and that's what the purpose of life is, that's your Ikigai, to find that purpose, to find that meaning. When you find that, continue to do that. Continue to follow your bliss, so to speak. We've heard that before. I think that was from Joseph Campbell. But follow your joy. Follow what lights you up. Follow what keeps you engaged, keeps you excited, keeps you active. So the book is called Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life. And although I did enjoy this book, like it resonates in the sense where these are the things that so many people talk about. Right now, we're in a place, or we're in a type of generation where a lot of people are wanting to live lives in where they're following their heart. We've come from a society that was set on doing. And with that, there was a lot of stress, a lot of disease, a lot of broken homes, broken marriages. And so now we're in like a place where people are really wanting to follow their joy, to extend their lives, but in a healthier way. People are engaging in spirituality and talking about things that, usually they didn't talk about. Oh, and that's another thing they mention in the book. So another common thing with the centurions is about being connected, is about knowing that you're part of something bigger, that you're not by yourself, that you need others and others need you, and that you have something to contribute, and that if there's something that needs help or needs fixing, to offer that help, and knowing that it takes a community, it takes a village, it takes people working together, relying on each other, and to get something accomplished. And the importance of being connected, of being close. So all those aspects of the book I really enjoyed. So I guess the con would be, sorry, there's a car outside. What a con for me would be is that the book is kind of choppy, in the sense where, because I can't think of a better word, it doesn't flow as easy. It has these really important aspects to it. The advice is great, but it doesn't flow, so to speak. So I'm not sure if that's because, so what I read about the authors is that they were born in a different country but lived in Japan. So I'm not sure if their writing style is just different and I'm not used to it. But that's the only con I would have. The book is only 185 pages. It's a really easy text to read. It's not something that's difficult to understand. The way they say it, the lessons that they give, it's really understandable. So I would encourage you to read it, especially if that's something that resonates with you, about following your passion, finding your purpose, realizing that you're part of a community, moving, staying active, being mobile. Another thing that they talk about is, I think I mentioned it before, is resiliency and being able to withstand different things, and relying on each other to help you withstand those like hardships or things that might come. Uh, so yeah, I um I like that it was a quick read. I like that it brings up the points that, it matters to me. I believe in those things. I believe in following your heart and finding what gives you joy and doing more of those things, and living your truth and connecting with people, and not just on a basic level, but really connecting with people, letting the people that you love know that you love them. Sorry, my voice sounds kind of throaty. But yeah, so I encourage you to check it out. I got it from the library. The library is one of my favorite resources. I love the library. So I encourage you to go to your nearest library, pick up some books that you are interested in, that you heard about. Maybe Ikigai will be on that list. Next, I hope to review another book that I'm reading. It's called Choose Wonder Over Worry, and it's by Amber Ray. And it's funny because I had borrowed Ikigai, and then I heard Amber Ray on the podcast, and she had mentioned that she read that book. And so it's funny that that's going to be the next book that I review. But thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.